This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
First at 6 o'clock, snow turns to rain as temperatures gradually creep up across central Indiana. This is a live picture you're seeing right here behind me of those wet roads. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Griffin. Storm Team 6 meteorologist Kyle Mounds joins us now with a look at how long this wet weather will stick around.
Yeah, Nicole, as messy as it was this afternoon, we're in pretty good shape now across central Indiana because temperatures have made their way above the freezing mark everywhere you look. But we had this afternoon that area of snow, but gradually those temperatures have been warming up and we're making that transition to what's just a cold rain. Even as we look around Portland and Hartford City, you've made that transition to rain showers, even some moderate rain, especially on the north side of the city along 465. Some pockets of heavier rain for you in Hamilton County as well. And you can see a few more showers that linger back to the southwest around Bloomfield. We're going to continue with this rain train, if you will, through the overnight as temperatures will stay in the middle to upper 30s and possibly even a few of those showers into tomorrow morning's drive. We'll talk about when this all gets out of here and the rest of your Monday in a few minutes.
Kyle, thank you. Preaching Peace took on a new meeting today, just days after a quadruple homicide in Indianapolis. RTV6's Troy Washington is showing us why pastors around the city are calling on their congregations to join the movement to stop the violence.
Pews to worship here at Barnes United Methodist Church, but also to figure out how to stop the steady storm of violence in the city.
We have to be concerned about what's going on in our neighborhoods.
Pastor Harrison is just one of around 50 pastors addressing their congregation this Sunday about the violence in the city. The latest major act of violence to shock the city, a quadruple homicide on Wednesday. The victims were between the ages of 19 and 21.
Those were 4 babies. Those were babies.
Police haven't arrested anyone yet for the murders. Meanwhile, gun violence continues to happen at an alarming rate. There are already more than 20 homicides in the city in 2020.
We are sitting back, not paying attention to what's going on. Our whole community is falling down before us.
Sunday served as a wake-up call for anyone who doesn't realize the tragic trend taking place.
And this code of silence thing, that's crazy, because you would not want that to happen to anyone in your family.
Fawn Harrison is a mother and a wife. She can't help but think of her own children when she looks at all the lives being cut short by violence.
I start thinking about my children because I can't even imagine. My kids always laugh at me. They say, "Mom, you're always in our business." I'm a nosy parent, and that's my job.
Bringing the crime issue to the forefront is only the first step. Pastors plan to unite across the city to make sure the message reaches the right ears. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Troy, thank you. The next step is to take the discussions into upcoming Bible study classes and midweek worship services in hopes of figuring out solutions. Concerns about violence may come up tomorrow when the new IMPD chief talks to citizens at a community event. The McDonald's in Broad Ripple will host coffee with the chief from 1 to 2:30 Monday afternoon. The city says there will be no formal agenda or speeches. Instead, it's an opportunity for people to talk to Chief Randall Taylor and other IMPD leaders in a casual setting. Also tomorrow, Indianapolis leaders will announce new technology to help connect people in need to food resources and nutrition assistance. Community Compass can be used to find things like food pantries, hot meal sites, farmers markets, and more. It can also help you determine if you may qualify for SNAP, WIC, or other benefits. We will learn much more at tomorrow's formal announcement at 2 o'clock at Windsor Village Park Family Center. The 92nd Academy Awards are less than 2 hours away, only right here on RTV6. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez joins us from the middle of the action with a preview of tonight's Oscars.
It is Hollywood's biggest night.
I'm just very grateful.
The 92nd Annual Academy Awards about to begin. For the second consecutive year, the show going on without a host.
It moves the show faster.
Yeah. And it puts the spotlight on the films and the filmmakers.
That spotlight especially shining on the Joker.
I didn't know if I even really
that fit.
Nominated for the most Oscars this year, 11, including Best Picture.
And it's getting trickier every year to pick who will win.
Its star, Joaquin Phoenix, who swept at the other major awards shows this season, a favorite to win Best Actor.
Joaquin Phoenix.
And some tough competition for the women, facing off against Best Actress frontrunner Renee Zellweger, nominated for her role in Judy.
I have to leave my children.
Among them, Cynthia Erivo. She is the only nominee of color in any of the acting categories this year, highlighting the ongoing lack of diversity at the Academy Awards.
I think that hopefully this year will serve as a turnaround.
And she's one of the performers set to take the stage tonight, along with Elton John and Billie Eilish. And expect a fast-paced show again this year. Each winner will have just 90 seconds from the time their name is called to finish their acceptance speeches. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, on the red carpet in Hollywood.
Marcy, thank you. It's no secret the way we watch movies is changing. Netflix has become a heavy hitter at the Oscars, earning its first Best Picture nomination last year. This year, it received 2 Best Picture nods for The Irishman and Marriage Story. Earlier this week, we spoke to Rotten Tomatoes editor Jacqueline Coley about what Netflix's success means for the future of film.
Well, I think there will always be traditional movie theaters, and I think people will always flock to the cinema because certain films are ones that they want to see on the biggest screen possible in that sort of theater experience. But when you look at the 2 Netflix films, I mean, both of them were films that were well received by critics. Marriage Story was 95% on the tomato meter, and The Irishman was also another certified fresh film. And both of them, I think, even though they're films that the filmmakers would want to see on the cinema, they can still be enjoyed in that secondary medium, and that's why they chose to let Netflix sort of distribute them.
Either way.
Jacqueline says Netflix was the only company that was willing to put up money for Martin Scorsese's huge budget on The Irishman. Attracting filmmakers, actors, and photographers to the state of Indiana is a challenge right now. That is because Indiana does not offer tax incentives for film and media companies. This leaves those creating TV shows and commercials choosing other states. I sat down with a local actor, Bobby Chrisman, who says he's having a hard time finding work here in Indiana.
Well, if you just get a national commercial, a national union spot, it literally could pay your bills for a year. And we get none of that now because there's no tax breaks. Every state around us has tax breaks. So when I want to audition for something like that, I got to go to, Cincinnati or Louisville or Chicago, whatever.
Coming up tonight on the news at 11, after the Oscars, we talked to a state senator who authored a bill that aims to change this and provide us incentives for media and film companies. 32 other states have a similar program. We'll tell you why that senator says this will benefit the entire state. Coming up, the candidates that are slipping and the candidates that are surging ahead of Tuesday's New Hampshire primary. And winter weather is impacting the Indianapolis Animal Shelter. The incentive IACS is offering this month for people looking to add a pet to their family.
The beat goes on.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
The New Hampshire primary is less than 48 hours away. Right now, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg appear to be the top 2 candidates. ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi is in Manchester, New Hampshire, with the latest.
The fight for New Hampshire turning into a battle between moderate Democrats pushing to finish strong.
I'm not Barack Obama, and neither is he. Neither is anyone running for president right now. And this isn't 2008.
After receiving a surge in the polls, former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg defending himself from attacks regarding his modest resume in politics and his difficulties building support among African-American voters, particularly from former Vice President Joe Biden, who said this about the 2-term mayor on ABC's This Week.
So what has he done? Who has he pulled together? Does he know any of the foreign leaders?
Biden this morning contending that New Hampshire is an uphill battle for him while running against the state's neighboring Senator Bernie Sanders, who he says could ultimately hurt down-ballot Democrats if he gets the nomination for being too left.
I didn't put the label on Bernie. Bernie calls himself a democratic socialist.
If you read these articles out, the establishment is beginning to get nervous.
For other candidates, New Hampshire could provide a pivotal moment in their campaigns. Senator Elizabeth Warren, slipping in the polls, spent the weekend knocking on doors, gathering support, while Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar's campaign announced it's collected $2 million in donations since Friday's debate, and her event this morning reaching capacity, marking the largest crowd her campaign has hosted in the Granite State to date.
Let's surprise everyone and win the right way with the right ideas, the boldest ideas, the best ideas. Let's go and get this done. Thank you, everyone.
And on the eve of the New Hampshire primary, President Trump will be here in Manchester holding a rally in the state that gave him his first primary victory back in 2016, which launched him toward the Republican nomination and eventually the White House. Mona Kosar-Abdi, ABC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Mona, thank you. Well, weather conditions are being blamed for an increase of animals at Indianapolis Animal Care Services. The shelter says it is running out of space. So from now until February 28th, adoptions are $5. Some exclusions apply. The IACS shelter is on South Harding Street. It's open every day except Wednesdays. And it is raining now, but earlier Indianapolis looked more like a snow globe. Take a look at this video from the west side taken earlier this afternoon. It looks really nice in that shot, Kyle, but if you were driving in it, I feel like the visibility was a little low on my way to work.
Yeah, visibility was a little bit of an issue, and then we ended up, especially in some of those medians and trying to change lanes, it got a little bit slushy out there. But fortunately, things are improving. We don't typically see that as we go toward evening, but our temperatures are warming up. So now we're dealing with the rain, but we picked up 0.3 of an inch of snow in Indianapolis, so we're nickel and diming here. We're still less than an inch for the month, but there you can see in the snow stats for the season, we're about 11.5 inches. So we're running more than 7 inches of snowfall below average for where we should be at this point. We still have some time to make that up. We know that February can be a snowy month for us, but we're not going to be adding any more to it tonight because those temperatures will continue to rise here. We're sitting at 34 right now in downtown, 37 for you in Bloomington, and 38 degrees in the Muncie area. And as we look at Storm Team 6 radar, it's all shades that represent rain for us. Some moderate rain, especially on the north side of Indianapolis. Some lighter rain around Noblesville at this point, but you can also see some of those pockets of heavier rain moving toward Richmond and also southern portions of Madison County. Got a more showers here as we look toward the Seymour and Bedford areas. So we'll continue with some rain throughout the overnight hours here. Gradually, it will start to slide to the south and east and dry things out a little bit for you around Lafayette and Kokomo. But that's also where temperatures may dip below the freezing mark. So some of that standing water, isolated slick spots going into tomorrow morning. The rest of us should be in pretty good shape, and we'll get the rain out of here. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of sunshine tomorrow, though. And you can see another 1/2 to inch of rainfall on top of what we've already had here throughout the day on Sunday. Monday planner, after those morning showers, the cloudy skies, and that's going to keep temperatures in the middle 30s. First half of the day will only warm to around 40 degrees in Indianapolis. A little bit warmer for you to the south, 44 in Columbus, but chilly and 38 in the Lafayette area. Tuesday, that's where we have a better chance of seeing some sunshine, temperatures making their way into the lower 40s. And then on Wednesday, that's our next weather system that's going to be moving into the area, I think toward the afternoon. May see a rain-snow mix with that one as well before it changes over to some snow on Thursday, and then some Arctic air for Valentine's Day. We're going to drop down into the single digits Friday morning, only recovering to 25, but it is a quick hitter because we're back to the 40s for highs next weekend.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Well, the number of deaths related to the coronavirus is now at more than 800, surpassing the death toll from the SARS pandemic. And there are more cases on board a cruise ship docked in Japan. ABC's Julia McFarland has the latest.
Today, a new significant moment in the fight against coronavirus. The total number of deaths now overtaking that of the SARS outbreak of 2002. The virus has spread to more than 37,000 people, leading authorities to tighten travel out of China and has forced a number of ships to quarantine their passengers. On board the Diamond Princess cruise ship docked in Japan, these newlyweds spending their honeymoon in quarantine.
I'm definitely going to say, like, if we weren't together, we probably lost our mind. Crazy.
Just imagine, like, a knot in your stomach all day, every day.
And these travelers finally allowed to leave the World Dream cruise ship docked in Hong Kong for the mandatory 14 days. I was so bored, this woman says, being stuck indoors for so many days. But back on dry land in Hong Kong, the fear of further spread has very much set in. People waiting in line around the block for face masks, carrying on with their daily commute, getting checked for fever by authorities along the way. And authorities warning that anyone who breaks quarantine could spend time in jail. The stricken city of Wuhan still at the center of the crisis. Medical workers in hazmat suits attending to patients, while crews convert a convention center into a field hospital. It's here in Wuhan where the first American to die from the virus was living before getting sick.
I want to send my condolences to the loved ones of the United States citizen who fell victim to the coronavirus in Wuhan.
For now, as the virus reaches another milestone in its scale, efforts around the world stepping up to stop the spread and prevent further loss of life. Julia McFarlane, ABC News, London.
Julia, thank you. Coming up, the road to the red carpet started in Indianapolis for some of the movies nominated for Oscars tonight. How a local film festival is becoming a top player in the industry.
Having these conversations about these silent issues, they're only silent because they're not affecting those in majority.
And tonight at 11, tampons and other feminine hygiene products will soon be considered basic necessities at a major university in the Hoosier State. What this means for students and staff and the push that made it happen.
Today.
Our countdown to the Oscars continues. Films from all over the world will be represented at the Academy Awards tonight, and many of them have a Circle City connection. RTV6's Brad Brown reports the Heartland Film Festival has become a top destination for movies hoping to capture Oscar gold.
Original screenplay, the members of the branch nominate. Marriage Story, Noah Baumbach.
As the list of Oscar nominees came together last month, the staff at Heartland Film grew more and more excited with each category.
Oh, we love it. Like I said, it's my Super Bowl. It's just an amazing, fun time of year. Whether you have an office pool, you're just rooting for a film that you love, or you do all the research and try to do all the trajectories of this film won here.
Greg Sorvig has seen the Heartland Film Festival grow from a regional movie showcase to a big player on the world's cinema scene. 2019 was a banner year. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood earned Tom Hanks a Best Supporting Actor nomination. It made its U.S. debut at Heartland as a special opening night screening.
It's interesting to see the trajectory of films, but we're very fortunate. I've pulled some strings. We had some of our own movie magic out of Toronto. But that's going to be the recipe from here on out.
That's pretty brilliant. 3 of the 9 movies nominated for Best Picture played here. Marriage Story was another of Heartland's showcase films. Jojo Rabbit and Parasite were both additions that showed off the growing diversity of the festival's offerings.
Do you think there's an element of the studios looking at kind of this Midwest audience saying, if we can succeed here in October, when we go wide in November and December, we might really have something on our hands here, like some of those movies you mentioned?
Yeah, I honestly, I think that's the special sauce, because at the big industry festivals, you're playing for the industry. You're in line, there's an executive from HBO here, there's another programmer from XYZ Fest too, but here you get a true response. And I think we have reps from studios like, how did that film play here? And we give them notes and they are genuinely interested.
Heartland's Indie Shorts Summer Festival has become an incubator for award winners. The top films here earn automatic qualification into the Oscar nomination process. 5 shorts that played last summer in Indy are among the 15 nominees.
But it's fun. I mean, you can make a film, get Oscar qualification, or just make the festival circuit and be absolutely not known anywhere to being an Oscar winner nominee within a year. It's pretty wild. It's just a great time of year. We try to balance the films that are going to be big, hopefully will win Oscars, with the films that you've never heard of, true independent films too. It's a wide spectrum.
That was Brad Brown reporting. The 29th Heartland International Film Festival opens October 8th. We'll be right back.
Area. Call 1-877, only ATT.
Coverage leading up to the 92nd Academy Awards resumes in just minutes here on RTV6. This is a live look from the red carpet. The show starts at 8 and the celebration of film and acting does not end there.
There's a lot of really talented people, but there's very little to no paying film work here.
After the Oscars, why talented local actors have to leave the Hoosier State to make a living in the push to change that.
That whole idea of having a first-class year-round venue, 4 screens in this city to play all sorts of great film is just like a dream that I didn't know I could dream.
And local film fans will soon have a beautiful new option for independent movies. We'll tell you where and when the Can Cinema will open and what sets it apart. Kyle.
And it's all rain if you're heading out to some of those watch parties this evening. We'll get rid of that rain tomorrow morning, and then we'll stuck with the clouds and highs around 40 degrees.
All right, Kyle, thank you, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here after the Oscars. Have a great night.